Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Whitney Ward.
And I'm Tom Sherry. Well, the weather has made things treacherous for drivers this evening. We're going to go straight to our Kyle Simchek, who is live now at Shady Slope Road, that is north of the Meade area, where about half a dozen cars have actually slipped off the road. Kyle, what's the scene there?
Well, yeah, Tom, a lot going on. They actually have Shady Slope Road blocked off. And as you mentioned, about half a dozen cars just about a mile up the road from here went off the road and down a bank a little bit. Now, the fire department tells us there were no injuries, but right now they have this road blocked off. Some people that live, just about a half a mile up, they're being allowed to go into their homes, but it's closed off for the rest of the traffic. They just really want to get the county in here, get a sander, and maybe another plow because this road is very slippery. Now, the main arterial hills around Spokane, they're in good shape, and so is Interstate 90. However, some residential streets are very icy. Now, a viewer texted us this photo saying she's seen some close calls today. This is near 6th and Howard over by Sacred Heart. Vehicles going too fast and sliding around. And the Washington State Patrol says the morning rush was a little dicey, but overall smooth sailing today with no major incidents. WSDOT also tweeted out a photo showing a vehicle following a snowplow way too close on I-90 in Spokane. WSDOT says driving this close puts operators in a difficult position and is a safety concern. So please give those plow trucks some room. Remember, never to pass on the right. So we're back here just north of Meade near Shady Slope and Winger. Again, the road is blocked off. About half a dozen cars have slid off, gone down the bank. So they're waiting for a county sander and a plow truck to help improve these conditions. But thankfully, no one injured so far.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. And so obviously a very snowy day across the inland Northwest. We have team coverage out, kind of fanned out across so that we have a good idea of what the road conditions are, because we're kind of getting into that time of night now where, obviously people are driving home after work and it's just enough snow to be very, very slippery.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a sheet of ice. It is packed right down. In many areas, it was 1 to 2 inches of snow. That's perfect for it to pack down and become a sheet of ice. So let's talk about this. We still have a winter weather advisory, not so much in the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene area, but to the east, to like East Kootenai County into Shoshone County and western Montana. That is in effect till 8 p.m. tonight. Still some active snow that could be falling there. And we're seeing some snow down in southeastern Washington and also down into Whitman County. That's winter weather advisory still extended tonight until 10 p.m. And again, these roads that haven't been treated, they are going to be very tough to navigate. Temperature-wise, yeah, cold enough to keep it icy. 25 degrees, just a little bit of wind out of the north-northeast at 6 miles per hour. I talked about that snow, southern Spokane County and down into Whitman County. There you see it on your Doppler radar. We'll look for fog to form overnight tonight. Could even see some freezing fog early tomorrow morning, and then we'll get above freezing with a relatively dry day. Should shoot for a high of 36. Another potent weather system headed our way possibly Friday night into Saturday. Could get snow Friday night into Saturday morning before it changes over to rain or a rain-snow mix with a high of 41, and then lingering showers expected on Sunday. I think the mountains, though, are going to get a good dose of snow, so be aware of that. And while we're tracking things from our weather center here in the studio, meteorologist Thomas Patrick is in our KREM 2 Storm Tracker vehicle this evening. So, Thomas, how are the roads looking where you're at tonight?
Yeah, we're kind of on the lower South Hill, and we're trying to go up this particular street, and it almost feels like we have to drift around it because of how snow covered, how icy it was. We could barely go 10 miles per hour around that snowy bend on an uphill slope, such as these side streets that have had very little attention paid to them, very little to no prep work like de-icer, none of that before this event began. And even though that the plows can come and maybe get rid of that inch or two of snow that fell in this area, there's still that base of ice, and that's really just not going anywhere until until we get some de-icer on top of this. So a lot of these streets and intersections in particular have been like absolutely treacherous and so icy. It's just been so slippery. And this brings me to a key point, is even if you're going from a side street to an arterial, if you're driving on the arterial, you still got to go slower to give those trying to merge a chance chance to merge in the first place because their grip levels are just not going to be there. They might be merging at like 4 or 5 miles per hour, and you don't want to be doing that coming onto like the 30-mile-per-hour traffic. So you got to be driving slow whether you're on the ice-covered streets or even if you're on the arterials, just to give everybody around you a chance to be safe during these conditions. Again, no more snow expected for tonight, but these icy roadways are going to stay looking like this for quite some time.
Well, the snow hit the Deer Park area around 6 o'clock this morning very quickly. The roads and the sidewalks were covered in snow and obviously very, very slippery in places. Crews began sanding and de-icing the roads, and there were even a few plows out already working. Snow accumulated very quickly up in the Deer Park area. We spoke with some drivers this morning about the conditions. Some couldn't believe the amount of snow they woke up to.
Yesterday it was all nice and clear. I didn't think it would snow today.
I want to make snow angels. So, yeah, this is wonderful. Yeah. And the highways are slick.
Well, there you go. Somebody enjoying the snow. We love that. As a reminder, roads are getting very slippery out there, dangerously slick in some areas. So make sure to give yourself plenty of space between your car and the ones around you.
Always a good reminder. And today's snow, very, very good news for skiers and snowboarders. After delays over the weekend, the resort officially reopening for daily runs tomorrow. So the fresh snow and the cold temperatures mean that people can finally start hitting the slopes. It's still going to be a limited start, but right now it's going to be weekends only for season pass holders, and during the week they're limiting the terrain to midway only. Now, if it's snowing where you are, we want to see your snow pictures because there have been so many good visuals from across the area. These are just a few that have been sent to us since this morning. So please do send the scenery in to us. You can text the word share to 509-448-2000, or you can also just text them directly using that very same number.
Well, if you've been having a case of weather whiplash lately, you can blame the jet stream. From extreme flooding in western Washington to warm weather here, pushing back our ski season, the big factor, the jet stream. The river of air that moves weather from west to east on a roller coaster-like path has just been stuck over our area. That means low pressure on one part of the stream is bringing rain to the Pacific Northwest, while high pressure hovering over about 2/3 of the nation produces dry and warmer weather. Now, if the jet stream moves more or bends differently, the extreme weather wouldn't be as frequent. Some meteorologists have actually theorized that this stuck stream might be due to climate change, but it is too early to tell for sure.
Very interesting. Well, in other news tonight, the person who was found dead up near Northern Quest has now been identified. The Spokane County Medical Examiner has identified that person as 48-year-old Jeffrey Hayes. The cause of his death was ruled as a gunshot wound to the torso. So police are now investigating exactly how he got there, if he was murdered there or perhaps in a different place, but they do believe it was a homicide. This continues to be a developing story. We'll update you once we do get more information. Anyone who may have information that could help in this investigation is asked to please call Crime Check, and we've got that number on our website. Just go to creme.com. Well, it almost seemed inevitable that the Omicron variant would be discovered here in Washington.
Yeah, the 3 cases are spread across 3 different counties on the west side of the state. The health department doesn't believe the cases are related, but still don't know if any of them traveled outside of the country or if they contracted the virus right here in Washington.
Now, the health department confirmed these 3 cases had been identified with the help of the University of Washington. Glenn Farley from our sister station in Seattle lays out what we know so far.
There's little doubt from the medical experts that more cases of Omicron will pop up here in Washington, not to mention around the rest of the country and the rest of the world. The University of Washington Medical School continues to play a big role. It was this virology lab in Seattle that picked up all 3 positive tests for Omicron, which was announced Saturday afternoon by the state. Here's State Health Secretary Omer Shah.
The next few weeks will be critical in determining how this variant spreads compared to Delta. We absolutely continue to monitor that as well as continue in our investigation.
Now, other labs will become involved over at UW Medicine. They will test the Omicron variant against vaccines, against blood samples from people who were previously infected with COVID. And we expect to learn more about this process later this afternoon.
All right, and still to come here tonight on KREM 2 News at 6, an exclusive look inside the lab that detected the Omicron virus. It's now just one of a few in the nation. And starting today, all travelers coming into the United States must get a COVID-19 test within 24 hours of their departure. That's a change from the previous 72-hour rule. This new rule applies to all passengers 2 years or older, including those who are fully vaccinated. Entry is still restricted for travelers from South Africa as well as 7 other African nations.
Kootenai Health is delaying its vaccination requirement by 1 week. The hospital had planned to require all employees to be fully vaccinated by today to be in compliance with the federal healthcare worker mandate. They will push forward with requiring their employees to be vaccinated despite a federal court order pausing the mandate. Staff will have to be vaccinated or have an approved exemption by December 13th.
And tonight, the City Council will vote to approve the budget for the Spokane Fire Department. Coming up, though, why the city says they need to approve millions in extra funds this year.